I only thought it. Then she turned and whispered, "Careful, human, I hear every word." Liam had always felt like a small fish in the vast ocean of the spaceport. Even after years of working on spacecraft engines, the endless crowd of aliens still amazed him. Tentacles waved, wings fluttered, and scales glimmered under the fluorescent lights. Each species seemed more complex than the last, moving with purpose and grace he could barely comprehend. Yet in all that chaos, he felt calm when he focused on his work. That was his world: engines, circuits, and the comforting hum of energy cores. He was hunched over a small shuttle, its outer panel open, wires snaking like glowing vines. Sparks danced across his fingers as he adjusted a delicate sensor. The shuttle was old, not designed for interstellar politics, but it had been his employer's pride for years. Liam muttered to himself, rubbing grease from his hands, "If this thing survives half a jump, I'll call it a miracle." Behind him, a soft, deliberate shuffle drew his attention. He looked up to see an alien walking past, tall and elegant, moving with a calmness that seemed to part the crowd around her. Her skin shimmered faintly, reflecting the lights above, and her eyes were sharp, intelligent. Liam blinked. Something about her presence made him feel small and exposed, like standing under a bright lamp after months in the dark. He tried to ignore the thought and return to his work, but curiosity gnawed at him. He peeked at the ship she had docked, a sleek craft unlike anything he had seen before. Its hull was polished to a mirror shine, and strange symbols ran along the edges, glowing softly. Liam had fixed hundreds of ships, but this one felt different. Like it belonged to someone who knew secrets he would never imagine. "Excuse me, human," a smooth voice said from behind him. He turned and froze. The alien, standing barely 2 steps away, looked directly at him. Her eyes glimmered with a subtle light, almost as if she could see past the surface into the layers of his thoughts. "I need your assistance." Liam swallowed hard. He had dealt with demanding clients before, but there was something about her tone that made him hesitate. Not fear exactly, but a strange mixture of awe and caution. Sure," he said, his voice cracking slightly. "What seems to be the problem?" She gestured to her ship. "A minor sensor alignment, nothing you cannot handle, I believe." She paused, studying him with those keen eyes. "Although I must warn you, I hear more than spoken words." Liam blinked. "Excuse me." She tilted her head slightly, the faint glow in her eyes intensifying. "I can sense intentions, thoughts that are not spoken. Be careful what you think, human." Liam's mind raced. He had joked about alien bureaucracy under his breath, just a fleeting thought, and now it felt exposed. He chuckled nervously. "Well, I guess I should watch my thoughts then, huh?" Her lips curved slightly into what could almost be called a smile. "Careful, human, I hear every word." It was a whisper, but it carried weight. Liam felt like he had been caught doing something mischievous, and yet there was no anger in her voice, only curiosity and a hint of amusement. He shook his head, trying to clear the embarrassment. "All right, sensor alignment, got it." He moved closer to the ship, hands already reaching for the access panel. The alien's eyes followed him, unblinking, as if measuring every motion, every intention. As he worked, Liam felt an unusual tension in the air. Normally, he was in control when repairing ships. He knew the sequences, the wires, the energy flows. But now, every movement felt like it was under a silent evaluation. He adjusted a conduit, and the alien's gaze seemed to follow it, noting the precision, the hesitancy, the thought behind the action. Minutes passed in silence, broken only by the occasional beep of a diagnostic tool. Liam realized he had never been watched this closely before. Not by a superior, not by a teacher, not even by someone trying to learn from him. This was different. It was intimate, almost intrusive, but not in a way that made him uncomfortable. Instead, it sparked a strange determination. He wanted to show competence, to prove that humans could handle more than simple repairs. "Interesting," the alien finally said, her voice soft. "Your approach is unconventional, yet effective. Most of my kind would follow protocols to the letter. You improvise." Liam paused, screwdriver midair. I guess I do think differently," he chuckled. "Sometimes that works in my favor." She observed him quietly, and for a moment, Liam felt like he was seeing through her as much as she was seeing through him. There was an intelligence there, a depth that made him reconsider everything he thought about aliens. They weren't just strange creatures from another world. Some of them were capable of understanding in ways humans rarely experienced. "You are clever, human," she said at last. "Clever enough to be useful, clever enough to be trusted." The words settled over him, heavier than any praise he had received in his life. Liam wasn't used to being trusted by someone so obviously capable, someone who could perceive not just actions but intentions. He swallowed hard, trying to keep his composure. "All right," he said finally, focusing on the final wiring adjustments. "Trust me, I won't let you down." She inclined her head, a subtle acknowledgement that she believed him. "Good, there is more than mere mechanics at play here. You will see soon enough." He tightened the last connector and ran a diagnostic. The system hummed to life, lights flickering in a precise pattern, and the ship responded as it should. Liam stepped back, wiping his hands on a rag, feeling a mix of pride and relief. "Excellent," the alien said. Her voice was calm, almost ceremonial. "You have passed the first measure." Liam raised an eyebrow. "First measure?" "Yes," she replied. "There are layers to every interaction, human, actions, thoughts, intentions. You have navigated the first, now comes the next." He felt his stomach tighten with anticipation. He wasn't sure what she meant, but he had the sense that this encounter was far more than fixing a ship. There was a subtle challenge in her words, and the idea that he was being tested, without even realizing it, made his pulse quicken. So what's next?" he asked cautiously. She smiled, just a faint tilt of her lips, enough to be noticed but not enough to reveal any emotion fully. "We have a small matter of a signal," she said. "A distress call from a location that your kind has not yet catalogued. I need you to help me interpret it." Liam's curiosity flared. Distress signals were rare and uncharted locations even rarer. The thought of discovering something unknown thrilled him. "A signal?" he asked, moving closer to the console. "I can try." "You can do more than try," she said. "Humans are capable of things that many underestimate. I hope you are one of those capable ones." He swallowed hard, feeling a mix of pride and pressure. He had always known humans were resourceful, but hearing it from an alien of her experience made the reality hit differently. This was no ordinary job. This was a chance to prove something, not just to her but to himself. As he adjusted frequencies and aligned sensors, he noticed the alien watching him closely, her presence almost tangible. It was as if she could sense every hesitation, every doubt. Liam tried to calm his mind, focusing solely on the task. He realized that thinking too much about impressing her would only slow him down. He had to be efficient, clear, and inventive. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. The signal was faint, fragmented, almost impossible to decipher. Liam's human intuition pushed him to try combinations that the alien might not consider, patterns that relied on reasoning rather than rigid logic. Each attempt brought a new flicker of response, a small victory that built momentum. At last, a clear reading appeared on the console. Liam leaned back, exhausted but triumphant. "Got it," he said, voice filled with relief. The alien's eyes glimmered. "Impressive," she said softly. "Your approach, it is not what I expected. You think differently. You see patterns where others see noise. That is rare." Liam chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck. "Well, humans have to adapt. We survive by finding solutions, even when everything seems impossible." She inclined her head slightly, a gesture that felt almost approving. "Perhaps your kind has more to offer than I initially believed." The hum of the console filled the silence. Liam felt a strange connection to the alien, not through words alone, but through the shared focus on the task, the mutual recognition of skill and ingenuity. For the first time, he felt like humans were not just observers in the galaxy, they were participants, capable of making a real difference. "You did well, human," she said at last, breaking the silence. "We are only at the beginning. The path ahead will require trust, cooperation, and clever thinking. Are you prepared?" Liam straightened, determination replacing his earlier nervousness. I am." A faint smile touched her lips again. "Good, then let us proceed. There is much to discover, and time is not on our side." As Liam followed her into the interior of the ship, he couldn't help but glance back at the spaceport one last time. The chaos of the crowd, the mix of species, the endless energy, it all felt different now. He had always been just a human among aliens, but now he was something more, a participant, a problem solver, a bridge between worlds, and he had a sense that this was only the beginning. Liam followed Sari through the narrow corridors of her ship. The walls pulsed faintly with light, casting shadows that seemed alive, as if the ship itself was aware of their presence. Liam could feel the hum of energy beneath the floor, and for the first time he realized that spacecraft could almost feel organic, a living network of circuits and systems. Sari moved with quiet confidence, her every step precise, yet somehow fluid. Liam struggled to keep up, not from speed but from awe. Every corner they turned revealed panels filled with lights and symbols he had never seen, strange holograms floating in the air, reacting to their movements. The ship felt like a puzzle he was both allowed and forbidden to touch. Finally, they reached a large room dominated by a spherical console hovering in the center. Tiny lights flickered across its surface, forming patterns that shifted and changed, like a star field in motion. Sari gestured toward it. "This is the signal core," she said. "The distress call originates from an uncharted sector. It is faint, scattered, and peculiar. I need you to analyze it." Liam stepped closer, excitement mixing with nervousness. This was unlike anything he had worked on before. The signals weren't just sounds or waves, they were patterns, almost like a language made of energy. His hands hovered over the interface, unsure where to start. "Do you need instructions?" Sari asked, her voice calm but expectant. Liam shook his head. "I think I can figure it out, maybe differently than usual, but it should work." Sari's eyes glimmered faintly. "Different methods are sometimes better than known methods. Trust in your human intuition, Liam. That is what makes your kind remarkable." He swallowed and focused. Liam began adjusting frequencies, shifting energy pulses to match the signal's irregular patterns. It was like listening to a song played in a strange key, disjointed, but with an underlying rhythm. Each attempt revealed new fragments of the message. Hours seemed to pass in a blink. Liam's brow was slick with sweat, his fingers moving faster and more confidently as he interpreted the energy. Sari remained close, her presence steady and unintrusive, observing without comment. Occasionally, she tilted her head as if checking his thought patterns, making him aware that every decision mattered. Finally, a sequence appeared, coherent enough to interpret. The distress call wasn't a simple request for help. It was a complex alert, a warning, and a plea intertwined. Liam felt a shiver run down his spine. Whatever had sent this signal was intelligent and in trouble. "Got it," Liam said softly, leaning back. It's not just a signal. Someone is asking for help, but also giving instructions. It's like they knew someone would come and want to fix the problem." Sari's eyes glimmered, faintly approving. "Clever observation. Most would assume it is a standard distress call, but you see the layers. That is why I asked for your assistance. Humans perceive differently. You think in ways my people sometimes do not." Liam felt a mix of pride and amazement. It was rare to be acknowledged, especially by someone like Sari. He realized that his human intuition, his ability to improvise, had value beyond what he had imagined. Sari walked to a console on the side and tapped a few symbols. A holographic map appeared, showing stars and planets, but one location pulsed faintly, marked in orange. "This is the origin," she said. "It is outside known space lanes, isolated and dangerous in its unpredictability. We will go there." Liam blinked. "Dangerous?" Sari shook her head slightly. "Not violent, dangerous, human, but unpredictable. Systems may fail, signals may mislead. Precision, focus, and cleverness will be required. Can you handle that?" I think so," Liam said, though his heart raced. He had never left charted space before, let alone navigated unknown regions with someone who could sense his thoughts. The ship lifted off smoothly, gliding out of the spaceport and into the endless black of the galaxy. Liam pressed his face to the viewport, watching stars streak past as they jumped through light corridors. It was mesmerizing, exhilarating, and terrifying all at once. For hours, they traveled in silence. Liam worked at the signal core, refining the patterns, predicting the next energy pulses. Sari occasionally offered observations, not instructions, but subtle guidance, almost like a teacher letting a student discover the answer for themselves. Liam found this method frustrating at first, but then invigorating. He had to think creatively, adapt, and trust his own judgment. Eventually, they reached the coordinates. Liam gasped as the planet came into view. Unlike anything he had imagined, it glowed with a soft blue light, swirling clouds above, rivers of silver snaking across the surface. It looked fragile, delicate, as if it could shatter with a careless touch. "Beautiful," he breathed. "Yes," Sari said softly, "and fragile. That is why we must proceed carefully." They descended through the atmosphere, the ship's hull vibrating as it adjusted to the unfamiliar energy patterns of the planet. Liam gripped the railing, feeling the pull of gravity and the hum of the engines. He had never been this close to something so alien yet so alive. Once on the surface, Liam stepped out into a world that seemed almost magical. The air shimmered faintly, carrying a light hum that vibrated through his chest. Strange plants, translucent and glowing, swayed gently even though there was no wind. He reached out to touch one, marveling at its delicate structure. It pulsed softly beneath his fingers, almost as if acknowledging his presence. Sari watched him closely, a faint smile on her lips. "It is alive in ways humans are only beginning to understand," she said. "Every element here is connected. Disturb one and the others respond. That is why the distress signal exists. It is a warning from the planet itself and its inhabitants." Liam frowned. "Inhabitants?" "Yes," Sari said. "Not all intelligent life is humanoid or mobile. Some communicate through energy, through vibrations, through patterns we call signals. They are struggling and we must help them." He nodded, determination settling in his chest. "All right, so where do we start?" Sari extended a hand, pointing toward a cluster of glowing structures that rose like crystalline towers from the ground. "There, that is the source. You will need to decode their energy patterns, integrate with their systems. I will assist, but your human perspective is necessary. You see what I cannot." Liam took a deep breath and approached. He could feel the faint pulse of energy under his feet, running through the towers, connecting them. It was like a network, a living web, and the distress signal now made sense. It was not just a call for help. It was a map, a guide, a plea to restore balance. He knelt beside the first tower, analyzing the pulses with tools from his belt. Each adjustment, each correction sent ripples through the network. Some towers brightened, some dimmed, some hummed in harmony. Liam realized quickly that this was a puzzle, a living system that responded to ingenuity, patience, and observation rather than brute force. Sari observed silently, occasionally nudging him toward patterns he might have missed. "Yes, like that," she said softly, eyes glowing. "Notice how it reacts to your sequence. The solution is not in strength, but in understanding." Hours passed. Liam worked tirelessly, guided by intuition, trial, and error. Sari remained near, a quiet presence, her occasional words encouraging rather than commanding. Slowly, the network began to stabilize. Towers pulsed in unison, the air vibrated with a harmonious energy, and the faint distress signal transformed into a steady, coherent pattern. Liam leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. "I think we did it," he said, voice trembling with relief. Sari nodded, a rare warmth in her expression. "Indeed, your approach was effective. You adapted to a system foreign to both of our experiences. That is the strength of humans. You see connections that others overlook. You are remarkable, Liam." He smiled, feeling a swell of pride. "Thanks, Sari. I couldn't have done it without your guidance either." She tilted her head, observing him carefully. "Guidance is not the same as interference. You made the choices. You applied your skill." "That is why I said humans are capable." Liam laughed softly. "I guess we make a good team then." "Yes," she said quietly, "perhaps more than you realize." As the sun, or what passed for a sun on this planet, began to set, bathing the landscape in soft violet light, Liam looked around in awe. The world was no longer a simple puzzle. It was alive, balanced, and beautiful. The inhabitants, whatever form they took, were safe for now, thanks to their combined efforts. Sari moved beside him, her gaze on the horizon. "There is more to this planet," she said. "More signals, more connections, more layers. But tonight you have learned the first lesson. Intelligence, ingenuity, and empathy can solve problems that strength cannot. That is why humans are valuable in this galaxy." Liam felt a warmth in his chest. He had never imagined being praised by an alien, let alone one as capable as Sari. But the real reward was the knowledge that he had made a difference, that human thinking mattered, that he was not just a bystander in the universe. As they prepared to rest for the night in the ship, Liam reflected on the events of the day. He had entered the unknown with uncertainty, guided only by his skill and intuition, and emerged successful. He realized that the galaxy was vast, full of mysteries, challenges, and wonders waiting to be explored. And for the first time, he felt that humans were not just small observers in this vast expanse. They were participants, innovators, problem solvers. Sari's gaze met his again, faintly glowing in the dim light. "Tomorrow," she said softly, "we continue. There are more signals, more puzzles, and more opportunities to prove that humans are extraordinary." Liam nodded, a mixture of exhaustion and excitement in his eyes. "I'm ready," he said. And as the stars shimmered above the alien world, he felt a thrill unlike any other. The thrill of discovery, collaboration, and the undeniable potential of humanity. The planet stretched endlessly before Liam and Sari, a landscape of softly glowing forests, crystal-like towers, and rivers that shimmered with light. It was alive in ways Liam could barely describe. Each step he took seemed to ripple through the environment, the ground humming faintly beneath his boots. Sari moved beside him, silent, almost blending with the glow around them, her presence calm and precise. "This planet is more than it seems," Sari said softly, her eyes scanning the horizon. "Its life forms are not limited to what you can see. Energy, vibration, and thought intertwine with physical forms. You must be careful, human. Your actions will ripple far beyond what you imagine." Liam nodded, his curiosity sharper than any caution. "I understand," he said. "I'll watch my steps and my thoughts." Sari glanced at him briefly, her faint smile reflecting approval. "Good. Observation is as important as action here." They walked toward a forest of tall crystalline plants, each one glowing in soft colors that shifted like the northern lights. The light reflected in Liam's eyes, making the world seem almost magical. He reached out to touch one, and the plant pulsed gently, sending a faint vibration through his hand. It was not a warning nor a signal of danger, but a quiet acknowledgement. "These plants communicate through vibration," Sari explained. "They are aware of you. Do not rush. Do not assume. Listen." Liam focused, closing his eyes for a moment, feeling the subtle rhythm of the forest. It was like a heartbeat, slow and deliberate, and he realized that everything here moved together in harmony. He smiled faintly. "It's beautiful," he whispered. "Yes," Sari replied, "and fragile. That is why the distress signals exist. Something has disrupted the balance, and these creatures are calling for assistance, though they do not speak as we do." Liam nodded, remembering the signal he had decoded earlier. It was not a simple alert. It was a map of needs, a guide toward restoring harmony. He felt a sense of purpose, the thrill of discovery pushing him forward. They followed a faint trail of energy pulses weaving through the forest. The pulses grew stronger as they approached a small valley where the ground shimmered like liquid glass. From the center rose a structure of light and crystal, unlike anything Liam had ever seen. It was not built but grown, a natural formation shaped by the energy of the planet itself. "This is the source," Sari said quietly. "The hub of communication. Here the energy of the planet converges. Here the inhabitants transmit their needs." Liam approached cautiously, scanning the energy flows with his instruments. The patterns were complex, layered, almost musical. He adjusted the readings, aligning frequencies to match the subtle variations. The crystal structure responded, pulsing in harmony with his adjustments. Sari watched him closely. "Do not rush, human. Feel the rhythm. The solution lies not in force, but in understanding." Liam smiled faintly, realizing that she was right. This was not a problem to be solved by strength or by speed. It was a puzzle that required patience, perception, and careful thought. He closed his eyes, letting the vibrations guide his hands. Slowly, the pulses aligned, the colors brightening, forming a coherent pattern. At last, the structure stabilized, sending out a clear, harmonious signal. Liam stepped back, breathless. I think it's working," he said. Sari's eyes glimmered. "Indeed, you have synchronized with the system. The inhabitants will sense balance again." "You have done well, human." Liam felt a warmth in his chest, pride mingling with wonder. "I couldn't have done it without your guidance," he admitted. Sari inclined her head slightly. "Guidance is not the same as doing the work. You made the adjustments, chose the sequences, felt the patterns. That is your skill. That is what makes humans extraordinary." They spent hours moving from one cluster of crystals to another, each one a node in the planet's network. Liam adjusted, corrected, and experimented, guided by intuition and observation. Sari observed and occasionally offered subtle advice, but the work was his. The synergy between human creativity and alien perception created results neither could achieve alone. As they worked, Liam began to notice subtle signs of the planet's intelligence. Small lights flickered in response to his movements. Patterns in the ground shifted as if tracking his steps. Faint sounds, almost musical, echoed through the valley, harmonizing with the energy pulses. He realized that the planet itself was alive, aware, and responsive. "It's amazing," he whispered. "It feels like it's listening." Sari's eyes glimmered faintly. "It is. Everything here communicates. The challenge is learning how to understand it without disrupting its natural flow. Liam nodded, focusing on the next node. This one was more complex, with overlapping frequencies and irregular patterns. He hesitated for a moment, feeling the weight of the task. If he made a mistake, the balance could be disrupted. But then he remembered Sari's words, "Trust your intuition. Feel the rhythm, observe and adjust." He closed his eyes, letting the vibrations guide him. His hands moved with purpose, connecting energy flows, aligning pulses, and testing variations. Slowly, the node responded, the chaotic signals harmonizing into a coherent pattern. Liam felt a thrill of triumph. This was human ingenuity at work, intuition and creativity solving problems in a way that raw computation could not. Sari watched him quietly, a faint glow in her eyes. "You see connections others do not. You adapt. That is the strength of humanity." "It is why I brought you here." Liam smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride. "I'm glad I could help," he said softly. They moved through the valley node by node, synchronizing the planet's energy network. Hours passed, yet Liam did not tire. Each success filled him with exhilaration, each adjustment a small victory. Sari remained close, her presence steady and reassuring. He realized that working together was not just about problem-solving. It was about trust, understanding, and the subtle balance of guidance and freedom. Finally, they reached the last node, a towering crystal formation at the edge of the valley. Its pulses were erratic, chaotic, as if resisting alignment. Liam approached carefully, studying the patterns. He adjusted his instruments, fine-tuning the energy flows, testing hypotheses, and observing the responses. The crystal pulsed violently at first, then slowly began to synchronize, responding to his adjustments. Sari observed quietly. "Patience, human. The final node is always the most complex. Do not force it. Let it guide you." Liam nodded, taking a deep breath. He closed his eyes, feeling the vibrations of the planet, the rhythm of energy pulses, the subtle shifts in the crystals. Slowly, steadily, he aligned the patterns, letting intuition guide his actions rather than haste or force. At last, the crystal pulsed in harmony, its energy flowing smoothly through the network. The entire valley seemed to breathe with relief, the lights shimmering in unison, the air vibrating with balance. Liam stepped back, exhausted but triumphant. Sari's eyes glimmered with approval. "You have done it, human. The planet's network is restored. The inhabitants will sense harmony once more. You have proven that human intelligence, creativity, and observation are invaluable." Liam smiled faintly, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. "We did it," he said, glancing at Sari. "Together." "Yes," she said softly. "Together, that is the key. Collaboration between beings of different abilities, different perspectives. This is how balance is restored. This is how progress is made." As the sun, or whatever passed for a sun on this world, set, bathing the valley in soft violet and blue light, Liam felt a profound connection to the planet. It was alive, aware, and infinitely complex. And he, a human among many species in the galaxy, had made a difference. Sari moved beside him, her gaze on the horizon. "There is more to learn here," she said quietly. "More signals, more nodes, more layers of intelligence. But tonight you have learned the first lesson. Observation, intuition, and patience are as important as knowledge or strength. That is why humans are capable in ways others underestimate." Liam nodded, feeling the truth of her words. "I understand," he said. "I've seen it firsthand." Sari looked at him, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of the valley. "Tomorrow we continue. The network is stable, but there are other regions, other signals, other challenges. Your ingenuity will be tested, and your perspective will be crucial." "Are you prepared?" Liam smiled, exhaustion and excitement mingling in his chest. "I'm ready," he said. As they returned to the ship to rest, Liam reflected on the day's events. He had entered the unknown with nothing but curiosity and skill, and had helped restore balance to a living planet. He realized that humans were not merely observers in the galaxy. They were participants, innovators, problem solvers. Their creativity, adaptability, and intuition were tools the universe had not yet fully recognized. Sari's gaze met his again, faintly glowing in the dim light of the ship's interior. "You have done well, human," she said, "but this is only the beginning. The universe is vast, full of mysteries, challenges, and opportunities, and humans, your kind, can play a role no one else can." Liam felt a thrill unlike any other. He had proven himself not through strength or aggression, but through thought, observation, and careful action. and he knew that the adventure was far from over. Above the planet, the stars shimmered like diamonds, each one a promise of discovery. Liam leaned back, letting the hum of the ship soothe him, feeling a deep sense of pride and excitement. Humanity had a place in the galaxy, and he was determined to explore it. Tomorrow, he knew, would bring new challenges, new puzzles, new signals, and new opportunities to prove that humans, with their ingenuity and heart, were capable of extraordinary things. But for now, he allowed himself to rest, comforted by the knowledge that he had made a difference, and eager for whatever the universe had in store. The next morning, Liam awoke to a soft hum vibrating through the floor of the ship. Light from the alien sun filtered through the crystalline windows, casting gentle patterns across the walls. Sari was already at the console, her eyes glowing faintly as she monitored the planet below. Liam stretched, feeling the excitement of a new day course through him. "Good morning, human," Sari said without turning. "The network is stable, but there are anomalies we did not detect yesterday. Some nodes are behaving unpredictably. You will need to assist me in investigating them." Liam nodded, still rubbing sleep from his eyes. "Unpredictable nodes sounds like more puzzles." "Yes," Sari replied softly, "and puzzles are opportunities. Observation, intuition, and patience will be your tools. Do you remember how to use them?" "I think I do," Liam said with a smile. "Yesterday was intense, but I learned a lot." Sari glanced at him briefly. "Learning is ongoing. Each layer reveals more complexity. Follow my guidance, but trust your instincts. That is how humans excel." They suited up and stepped out onto the planet's surface. The morning light revealed details Liam had not noticed before. Small creatures, almost invisible, flitted between the glowing plants. Energy streams wove through the valley like delicate threads, linking the nodes in patterns too intricate to see at first glance. He felt the hum beneath his feet like a heartbeat connecting everything around him. "See those streams?" Sari asked, pointing to faint lines of light running across the ground. "They are pathways of energy. Some are natural, others have been altered. We need to trace them to their origins." Liam bent down, letting his hands hover above the streams. They pulsed softly under his touch. He followed one to a cluster of nodes partially hidden by translucent vegetation. The energy there was uneven, chaotic compared to the rest of the network. "This one seems unstable," Liam said, studying the pulsing. "It's like it's resisting alignment." "Correct," Sari said. "Some nodes carry memories of the planet's past. They react differently to interference. Approach carefully." Liam nodded, recalling the rhythm of the nodes from yesterday. He began adjusting the energy flows, realigning pulses, and testing variations. The crystal cluster responded slowly, flickering before stabilizing. He smiled faintly. "Got it, just needed patience." Sari's eyes glimmered with approval. "Patience and perception, you are improving." They continued moving through the valley, identifying anomalies and restoring balance. Each node revealed more about the planet's history. Liam realized that this world had evolved with intelligence, each structure carefully crafted and maintained through subtle energy communication. "This planet isn't just alive," he whispered. "It's aware of itself." "Yes," Sari replied. "Awareness is not always visible. Many life forms are intelligent without limbs or voices. They perceive, remember, and communicate through energy. This is why your human perspective is invaluable. You notice patterns, connections, and solutions others might overlook." Hours passed, and the duo worked steadily. Liam's understanding of the energy network deepened, and he began to anticipate the responses of the nodes before adjusting them. Sari's occasional guidance was gentle but precise, helping him refine his intuition. Finally, they reached the central node, the largest crystal structure on the planet. Its energy pulses were erratic, unlike anything Liam had experienced. The node seemed to carry emotions, fear, urgency, even hope. He realized that the inhabitants had stored memories, warnings, and guidance here, waiting for someone capable to interpret them. "This is the heart of the planet," Sari said softly. "Its memory, its conscience, and its warnings converge here. You will need to align this node carefully, human. Every choice you make will ripple through the network." Liam took a deep breath, placing his hands on the crystal. He closed his eyes, feeling the vibrations, listening to the faint tones that carried meaning beyond words. It was overwhelming at first, but he focused on the patterns, the subtle shifts, and the harmonies. Slowly, he began to align the pulses, letting intuition guide his actions rather than thought alone. The crystal flickered violently, sending waves of energy through the valley. Liam held his ground, steadying the adjustments, carefully testing sequences until the pulses began to synchronize. Colors shifted across the structure, softening into a gentle glow. The chaos transformed into harmony, and the energy streams across the planet stabilized. Sari watched quietly, her expression unreadable. "Excellent," she said finally. "You have connected with the planet's memory and restored balance. The inhabitants will sense it immediately. You have done something remarkable, human." Liam smiled faintly, feeling pride swell in his chest. "We did it together," he said. "Yes," Sari replied softly. "But the planet holds more secrets. Some are old, some are hidden, and some are warnings for travelers. If you are willing, we can explore them next." Liam's curiosity flared. "I'm ready. Show me what's next." They moved toward a section of the valley that was darker, shaded by towering crystal formations. The energy there was faint, almost imperceptible, but Liam could sense the subtle pulses as they drew closer. Sari extended her hand, guiding him. "This area contains messages from the past. They were left by visitors long before us. They carry lessons we must understand." Liam knelt near a crystalline formation, observing the patterns etched into its surface. As he traced the lines with his hands, the crystal pulsed gently, revealing images, shapes, symbols, and faint representations of creatures. He realized they were messages, instructions, and records of experiences. "These are like history books," Liam whispered. "But made of energy." "Yes," Sari said. "And they are alive. They respond to understanding, to empathy, and to intelligence. Force does not work here. Only careful observation, interpretation, and patience will reveal their meaning." Liam spent hours tracing the patterns, decoding the sequences, and linking them to the nodes. Each discovery revealed more about the planet's inhabitants, their needs, and their communication methods. He realized that the world had survived countless challenges because of the subtle intelligence embedded in every structure and energy flow. Sari occasionally guided him, offering hints rather than answers. Liam appreciated this method. It forced him to think, observe, and trust his intuition. Slowly, he began to anticipate the responses of the nodes, predicting adjustments that would harmonize the system. By late afternoon, they had uncovered the majority of the messages. The energy network was stable, the nodes synchronized, and the inhabitants' communication was clear. Liam stepped back, exhausted but exhilarated. "You have done well, human," Sari said softly. "The planet is balanced again, its messages are understood. And you have proven something important. Humans are capable of understanding, intuition, and patience beyond expectation." Liam smiled faintly, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. "Thank you, Sari. I couldn't have done it without your guidance." Sari inclined her head slightly. "Guidance is not the same as doing the work. You made the choices, applied your skill, and felt the patterns. That is your strength. That is what makes humans extraordinary." As they rested near the central node, Liam looked around at the valley. The lights shimmered gently, the air vibrated with harmony, and small creatures moved freely among the glowing plants. He felt a deep connection to this world, a sense of responsibility and pride. "This planet, it's incredible," he whispered. "I never imagined something like this existed." "Yes," Sari said quietly. "And there are countless worlds like this, human. Some are waiting to be understood, some are waiting for help. Your kind has a role to play. Intelligence, observation, and creativity are tools that no other species possesses in the same way." Liam nodded, feeling the truth in her words. He had always known humans were resourceful, but experiencing it here in this living, intelligent world made the realization tangible. They were not just observers in the galaxy, they were participants, innovators, problem solvers. As the light faded and the stars emerged in the alien sky, Sari turned to him. "Tomorrow, we explore the regions beyond this valley. There are more nodes, more anomalies, and more messages waiting for interpretation. Are you prepared, human?" Liam smiled, exhaustion mixing with excitement. "I'm ready," he said. Sari's eyes glimmered faintly. "Good. The universe is vast, human. It tests, challenges, and rewards those who are willing to observe, think, and act with intelligence. You have proven your worth. And yet the journey is far from over." Liam looked at the stars above, feeling the hum of the planet beneath his feet. He realized that this was only the beginning. Humanity had a place in the galaxy, and he intended to explore it, to contribute. and to prove that human creativity and ingenuity were forces to be recognized. And as the soft glow of the valley surrounded them, he knew that with Sari by his side, there was nothing they could not understand together. The alien sun rose slowly, casting a gentle glow across the crystalline valley. Liam stepped outside the ship, breathing in the thin, fragrant air of the planet. The energy network was humming in harmony, its light pulsing softly through the ground and the towers. After days of observing, adjusting, and decoding, the planet seemed alive in a way he had never experienced before. Sari joined him silently, her eyes glowing faintly as she scanned the horizon. "The nodes are stable," she said softly. "The inhabitants are secure and their communication is clear. You have done remarkable work, human." Liam smiled, feeling the weight of accomplishment. "We did it together, I still can't believe it." "Yes," Sari said. "Balance is always the result of cooperation. Observation, patience, and intelligence must align. You have proven that humans can contribute in ways many would never imagine." They began moving through the valley, visiting nodes they had not yet explored. Each one seemed to respond differently, reflecting the history and experiences stored within it. Liam traced the pulses with his hands, feeling their rhythm, their subtle shifts. He realized that this planet was not just alive. It was aware, thinking, remembering, and communicating in ways that challenged his understanding of life itself. At one node, he paused to study a pattern that shimmered faintly with golden light. It felt different from the others, warmer, more welcoming. As he adjusted the energy flows, the pulses expanded and spread through the network, lighting up nearby crystals in a radiant glow. Liam stepped back, watching as the energy flowed freely, harmonizing the surrounding nodes. Sari observed quietly. "That node carries messages of hope and guidance. It responds to understanding, not force. You approached it with care, patience, and insight. That is why it responded to you." Liam felt a deep sense of pride. "I never imagined I could do something like this. It feels important, like I'm actually helping." "You are," Sari said softly. "Humans are capable of understanding, interpreting, and solving problems in ways that other species cannot. Your intuition and creativity are your strengths. Never underestimate them." As they continued their exploration, Liam noticed subtle movements in the valley. Small creatures, almost invisible to the eye, flitted between the glowing plants. Energy streams shimmered as they passed, responding to the presence of intelligent life. It was a reminder that the planet was not just a collection of nodes and crystals. It was a living ecosystem, alive with thought and awareness. At the central node, Liam paused to observe the entire network. From this vantage point, he could see the patterns spreading through the valley like a web of light. He realized how much they had accomplished together. The chaotic, disjointed signals they had first encountered were now harmonized, stable, and coherent. The inhabitants of the planet could communicate clearly, and their world was safer because of their work. Sari placed a hand lightly on his shoulder. "This is the result of cooperation, Liam. Observation, intuition, and respect for the planet allowed you to achieve what few could. Humans are capable of greatness, and today you have proven it." Liam looked around at the glowing landscape, feeling a sense of fulfillment he had never known. "I never thought humans could be part of something like this. We always seem small compared to the universe, but now I see that we can make a real difference." Sari's eyes glimmered faintly, a subtle warmth in her gaze. "Exactly. The universe is vast, human, but intelligence, creativity, and cooperation are powerful forces. Your kind has the potential to shape events, solve problems, and bring balance where it is needed." They spent the rest of the morning visiting the remaining nodes, ensuring that all signals were aligned and all anomalies resolved. Liam's confidence grew with each success. He began predicting the responses of the nodes, anticipating the energy flows, and adjusting with precision. Sari's guidance was minimal now, mostly quiet observation and occasional hints. It was clear that she trusted his judgment entirely. As they finished the last node, Liam stepped back to admire the valley. The entire system pulsed in perfect harmony. Light shimmered across the crystalline towers, energy flowed freely through the streams, and the faint hum of the planet resonated through his chest. He felt connected to this world, to its inhabitants, and to the energy that bound everything together. "This is incredible," he whispered. "It's like the whole planet is alive and aware." "Yes," Sari said softly, "and it is. Balance is not a static state." It requires observation, understanding, and careful adjustments. You have contributed greatly. The planet recognizes it. Liam smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride and responsibility. I hope I can keep learning. There's so much more out there. Ceri's eyes glimmered, reflecting the radiant light of the valley. There is always more to learn, human, and there is always a place for those willing to observe, think, and act with intelligence. You have shown that humans can rise to challenges that others might avoid or fail to understand. They returned to the ship to rest, the hum of the planet following them as if acknowledging their work. Liam sat near the console, watching the energy flows on the holographic display. It was mesmerizing, a complex web of patterns and pulses that seemed alive, responsive, and intelligent. He realized that every adjustment they had made had a ripple effect, spreading through the planet and its inhabitants. Tomorrow, Ceri said quietly, we will begin exploring other regions. There are more signals, more patterns, and more lessons waiting. But tonight, rest. You have earned it. Liam leaned back, closing his eyes, and let the quiet satisfaction of accomplishment settle over him. He had entered this planet uncertain, inexperienced, and curious, and now he felt capable, confident, and inspired. The universe was vast, yes, but humanity had a place in it, a role that relied on creativity, intelligence, and empathy. As the stars shimmered above the valley, Liam reflected on the journey. He had worked alongside an alien of extraordinary perception, navigating a living, intelligent world, and had contributed to restoring balance. The lessons he had learned were not just about energy networks or problem-solving. They were about patience, observation, and cooperation. And he realized that these qualities were not unique to this planet. They were human qualities, capable of making a difference wherever they went. Ceri observed him quietly, her gaze reflecting the faint light of the stars. You have done well, human. The galaxy is vast, and there are countless worlds that require intelligence, insight, and creativity. You have proven that humans are capable. Never forget that. Liam smiled, feeling a thrill unlike anything he had experienced before. I won't. I've learned that humans can do more than survive. We can understand, adapt, and help create balance. We have a role to play in the galaxy. Yes, Ceri said softly, and this is only the beginning. There are more worlds, more challenges, and more mysteries waiting for those willing to observe, think, and act. You are capable, Liam. Never doubt it. As the evening settled over the valley, Liam felt a quiet peace. The planet pulsed gently beneath him, alive and aware, and he knew that they had made a lasting difference. The inhabitants were safe, their communication restored, and their world balanced. He looked at Ceri, who stood beside him, calm and radiant. Thank you, he said softly, for trusting me, guiding me, and letting me be part of this. Ceri's eyes glimmered faintly, a subtle warmth in her expression. You earned it, human. By observing, thinking, and acting with intelligence, you proved your worth. And that is the measure of a capable being in this galaxy. Liam nodded, feeling the weight and joy of her words. He had not only helped the planet, but had grown as a human, realizing the potential of his kind. Humans were capable of ingenuity, problem-solving, and empathy in ways that could change worlds. As the stars twinkled above, he made a silent promise to himself. There were more mysteries, more puzzles, and more worlds to explore. He would continue to learn, to help, and to prove that humanity's creativity and intelligence were forces to be recognized. Ceri turned toward the ship, her faint glow casting light across the valley. Rest now, human. Tomorrow we will continue our journey. There are more challenges, more discoveries, and more opportunities to demonstrate the value of your kind. Liam followed her inside, feeling the quiet excitement of what lay ahead. He knew that the galaxy was full of surprises, but he also knew that humans had a role to play. Through observation, intuition, and clever action, they could make a difference, sometimes in ways no one else could. As the soft hum of the planet filled the ship, Liam allowed himself to relax. He reflected on the journey they had completed, the challenges they had faced, and the lessons he had learned. He felt proud, capable, and inspired. Humanity was more than just a species trying to survive in a vast universe. They were participants, innovators, and problem-solvers, and he was ready for whatever the universe had in store next. The stars above shimmered in silent approval, and Liam felt a thrill of anticipation. Tomorrow, they would continue exploring, solving, and discovering. But tonight he rested, knowing that his contributions mattered and that humans with their ingenuity and heart could achieve remarkable things. Ceri's voice broke the silence, calm and soft. Remember, human, the universe tests, challenges, and rewards those willing to observe, think, and act. You have proven yourself. Now rest, for tomorrow brings new opportunities. Liam closed his eyes, a smile on his face, feeling the quiet satisfaction of accomplishment. He had entered the unknown, uncertain, inexperienced, and curious. He had emerged capable, confident, and inspired. The journey had only just begun, and he was ready. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries, but Liam knew humanity had a place in it. A role that relied on creativity, insight, and cooperation. And he would embrace it, proving with every step that humans were more than capable of extraordinary achievements.